I see there's somebody here. If we're about to do, oh, there's a dragonfly. Yeah, we're about to do basil and cactus. So if anybody's interested in basil and cactus, it looks like there's, I don't know if that's rosemary. I think that's rosemary in there. Growing in this. Wow, the begonias are doing great. Oh, there's Bo. Oh my gosh, we got Bo. Of all people. Hey Bo, I got a question for you. In Allie's chat, am I hidden or silenced? Because nobody was answering me in Allie's chat. I don't know if you can answer that, Bo. I don't know if I was silenced or hidden, or nobody was talking to me in Allie's chat the last 2 days. I don't know if Ernest or somebody did that. Okay, hey. All right, so what we have right now, we're going to do the cactus first. Oh, okay, it was fast. All right, yeah. All right, so we have a cactus here. Some people got way better cactuses. This cactus, the actual cactus itself looks like it may not even make it, so we're gonna have to repot it too. Generally, we're gonna be using actual dirt because generally the here in Florida, the sand ain't good for a whole lot of anything. But when you're dealing with things that are in the cactus family or what they call succulents, they need dirt. And this is topsoil, so this is perfect. What I have here, and so they're gonna get their own pot. Some cactus have trouble here because we got heat, but we got humidity, and they do better over in Arizona and Nevada, Las Vegas type area because cactus, you gotta be real careful. What I'm doing right here, you gotta be real careful because this is, oof. If we rip this, we don't want to break it. We are removing, hopefully that cactus still lives. That one got broke a little bit. So now we're dealing with, here, I don't have this camera turned right. There's Rainbow. How you doing, Rainbow? So this is what we're dealing with here. So each one of these is a new plant. And somewhere where I was working recently, there was I wasn't doing plants for them, so I didn't mention that I know they struggled with their plants a little bit, but their cactuses were doing great. They didn't water enough, so a lot of their plants weren't making it. But the cactus was like, hell yeah, because where they had it in the sun, because of our humidity here in Florida, cactus have trouble, but because they weren't watering it real good, the cactus was the only thing that was doing great. And I wanted to take some of their cactus, but I didn't want to be rude. But some people don't like you stealing plants. So this is this one now we have here. And the original, as you can see, is now missing a piece. Because where I ripped it off, it didn't rip perfect. And so now we're taking this little one. Hopefully we can do it without ripping. Hopefully we don't hurt it. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. So that's a perfect example. Cactus and succulents. I got some succulents here, but I don't have a lot. But succulents and cactus, they like to dry. So this dirt is topsoil. Topsoil does not have the same nutrients as like garden soil, but the cactus love it. In cactus soil, if you buy cactus soil, we might have to get some this week. Cactus soil is a different kind of soil you'll find if you go to places like Lowe's anywhere that has soil, they're gonna have cactus soil, and it's drier. It doesn't have the same uh, moisture as other things, and so I don't think I have any more cow manure. I think I need to talk to farmers around here about cow manure because I need more. And so now we have this little guy. I need to probably move the camera down even lower. I need a camera, people. Let's see, what's a smaller pot? That one's too tall. We might not even need a pot at all. We might just put it straight. Let's see what happens if I put it straight here. Oh yeah. Yeah, there you go. That works perfect. So this one, you're gonna have weeds and things. These are actually rosemary. I'll probably keep them there for the moment. And then this one here is a weed we're pulling. And if there's any leaves, we remove the leaves. You can probably hear that crunch and crackle. And you can see these rosemary that we're growing here. Sometimes I got other plants that'll grow in other plants because it's very normal. Because the roots, sometimes when I do things in one pot, it's got roots from another plant. How you doing? I'm doing good. Just add more sand. Yeah, so we'll probably get them from the ground because here in Florida, our dirt is pretty sandy. You'll hear people call it Florida sand, and some people think you can't grow it. I can grow peanuts in it. It does work, but the whole key with cactus is you won't go drier. So the regular sand will probably be getting a couple buckets of it with a shovel here sometime today. I also have to go to the store. In fact, I was about to go to the store, but I decided to go live instead. Let's see. I'm doing good, thank you. Almost off work at 1. Oh, do you work? I was gonna ask you, do you actually work at Disney? Because I see you're always at Disney. I didn't know if you worked there. Here in Florida, we have the Disney World, and I knew somebody who worked there. Now, some of the soil I'm adding is actually regular, like garden soil, because there is nutrition here. Even though, like I said, most of what we're doing with, I usually make a mix before I get started. And I would like to have had cow manure in here, but basically we've got either sand from the like actual ground, or you have the cactus soil like you can buy at the store. And so here we have, this is one that's new, and this is one that's new, and this is one that's new. As you can see, their color is better than the one that I got them from, is this one, because he doesn't look like he's doing too good, but he made 1, 2, 3, he made 3 babies, and these babies will make more babies. And so that's how I do a lot of what's called propagation. So, like, if you're going to sell plants, a lot of people, they just sell the plant. And that's fine. You can buy plants and sell plants. But what I do is, what if you get a plant and it has problems like this guy, and it makes babies. And so the different plants have different ways of making babies. Sometimes you want to clip clippings, and sometimes they grow plants underneath the ground. And then in this case, it's the cactus will build other. So we're about to do basil. For me, we're gonna get basil. I meant to do these videos like tomorrow or something when I get more dirt, sometime this week. But I wanted to go ahead and do it now. And we're going to, even though it's off subject, we're going to turn the camera around to show you other things before we even do the basil. Okay, so these are rubber trees, and they're doing really good. I'm gonna have to trim them back. They actually branch out if you cut them, and then the cut, it becomes a new plant. One of these, I believe it's the smallest. I don't know if it's, why is that kraut in there? Why did I put that there? I don't know why I put that there. One of these is smaller because it is it was the clipping. It might be this one, as a matter of fact. It might be this guy. But they where I cut it, you can see right here, and that makes them branch out, and this is the branch. And so this guy, right, you can see right there where it connects. And so that will be cut off and become its own plant. And so that's how you make more plants with the rubber tree. And that I meant to show you the basil. Here we have a serious issue. These, I don't know if you're familiar with bamboo. Bamboo is shooting up out of the ground. Now it could be that this bamboo is coming from the main plant, but I don't think it is. So the main plant is here, and I cut it, I think in February or March, because some of them are 15 feet tall. Well, as you can see, those are 15 or 20 feet tall. In other words, what the main bamboo plant did, when you cut it, it's going to make more bamboo. And so, one of the things it did was this here. As you can see, that is also 15 or 20 feet tall. That's taller than the house. So, one of the issues with bamboo is it's shooting up everywhere, and you want that. Here's another example. That's a bamboo. So I'm waiting for some of these smaller bamboo to get bigger, but where they came from, I think the ones over here did not come from that main plant. This guy here and here, when I dig up bamboo, I plant it. You gotta make sure you have the roots. And so what happened was, see, there's a baby, right? I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. The glare is crazy. Right. Where my finger is. Yep, you can see that. Let me move that stick. So yeah, so that is making new bamboo. And what that means, oh, we got two right here. Yep. So the problem here is it's possible that these that need to be moved to, they need to be, that's why I need more dirt. These need to be moved to a 1 gallon, a 10 gallon. So moving these to a 10 gallon is important, but it's possible that they rooted underneath. I need to move these to check, but it's possible that they rooted underneath the pot. In other words, that'd be underneath the ground. If so, then they send a runner, because they send runners off, and that would be where these are coming from. So chances are these are coming from the ones I potted, which is a disaster, but it can be good, because now I can take these bamboo that have shot up, and I can pot them as well, as long as they have roots, which is why you want them to be about 5 feet. The small babies are only like 2 feet, so they may not have roots yet. So we were supposed to go get basil. That was what we were supposed to do. So you can see, as you can see, I think I got the phone turned right. Nope, I do not. So these are basil. These are our basil. And I see Alaskan Assassin Adventures, AAA. I always joke that he needs to fix my car because he's AAA. Oh, let's get this going. So I'm picking you guys up with this tray. So I don't know if you see the sky or the ground or what you see. Who knows? You might see the sky, you might see the ground. I think you see the ground because I turned it around. Okay. So we're going to do one at a time here. Oh yeah, you can see me now. Okay. So let's turn this around and look at what we're dealing with. Now these basil came from, when you buy basil, they sell you like, these were actually 2 plants. But what they do is they put like 1 billion plants in one, and then the roots get, I don't know if you've ever seen what they call root house, where there's like so many roots in the, there's so many roots in the pot, and then you have to deal with that. But what I do is if they put 4 or 10 or 20 plants in a pot, then some of them didn't. But the humidity here in Florida this time of year, some people do better than others with the basil, but these have to be moved. These we actually This is why I should have gone and got more dirt before I did this. So we are moving the pots around so we have room to work with here. And so some people are more organized than others. So if you're wondering why there's such a mess on the table, pots are used, so I keep them here. I do not need all this here. So we're going to do this and this. So pots are needed. Let's see here. Let's put that there. This here, this here. So yeah, and this is a drill from that last thing I built. If you didn't see what I built, if you check my videos, I made a thing to display plants with 2x4s. Let's see. Come on, phone. There we go. So these are the baby. These are the baby plants. And so we need dirt. So you're gonna come with me and we're gonna look for dirt. Just season to be planting papaya. So you're gonna come with me to look for dirt. Because we need dirt. Without dirt, we fail every time. And so some of these we can't use because there are plants in them. Those we cannot use. We're looking for pots that have dirt that the plant didn't make it, or that they're extra dirt, basically, is what we're looking for. So these, gotta turn this around. These are the cranberry hibiscus. Looks like some of them are gonna make it, some aren't. As I said in the video when I did the cranberry hibiscus, it takes about 3 weeks for them to root. These were clippings from, there's I think 40 here. I had some cranberry hibiscus that had some problems. These are baby papaya trees here, because I lost 30 trees this year. Here's the big papaya trees. They should have, when they have a bad leaf, we remove the lower leaf like that. There you go. So yeah, so this is the big bamboo plant, and this is the papaya trees. And so I planted more, let me check. I planted more papaya trees, so we're waiting for them. I really desperately need a cat because these damn squirrels have gotten out of here. Here is this is the shampoo ginger, as you can see. And this is a banana tree. It sent up a new one. These are bird of paradise over here, but we are looking for dirt. That is what we are looking for. You can hear them squirrels in the woods. I hear you guys. I'm gonna get a cat. You can forget it. And so yeah, let's see. I'll show you my tomato plant. This is my tomato plant. They did not do well this year. It looks like one of the pepper plants is gonna make it. This, I believe, is a tulip. They sprouted. So let's see here, we need dirt. Oh, there's a pot. It's empty. Nope, that one looks like it's gonna make it. So we're looking for things that didn't make it. These are spider plants here I'm dealing with. I'll show you guys the spider plants. Turn this around. No, I don't use rooting hormones. What I do is I don't ever use hormones because I want the plant to either make it or not, and it usually takes 3 weeks for those cranberry hibiscus. They'll wilt and they'll come back, and so that's how I propagate those. I don't use any hormones of any kind, because if anybody asks me, hey, do you use hormones? And I'm like, nope, because here's a lizard. Hello, lizard. That's a lizard. We have lizards here in Florida. That is a, so I don't use rooting hormones, and I force the plant to make its own roots because, and like I said, it should take about 3 weeks because I make the plant figure it out. So if you lose, like let's say you got 40 and you lose 20 of those, then the 20 that made it, yes, I could use rooting hormones, but I want the plant, you could call it tough love. I want the plant to, figure its own shit out. And so if you're using rooting hormones, that's not, I'm not here to critique anyone. If they want to use rooting hormones, that's fine. My mom did before she passed away, and my one buddy did. But I don't use them because I want the plant to figure itself out. So if it has, you're basically forcing it to make roots. So if I get a stem cutting, sometimes I do what's called, you got stratification of seeds and you got stratification of seeds, and you've got different processes if you get into the botany and the science of it. But what I'm trying to do is that basically sometimes you can take the plant and put them in a bucket of water. I do that with some plants. I do that when I do sugar cane. But in the case of the cranberry, hibiscus, and other plants, no, their stems have got to they've got to figure it out. And if only, let's say you lose 20, well, then those 20 weren't tough enough. Is that Froggy? Oh boy, I got Froggy's here. Hello, Froggy. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. These are basil right here. Let me see. I gotta move this over here so you can see this. Let me sit down here. So this is, let me move. I need to get a better setup. So this is the plant we're working on. And so basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking the basil and putting it in another pot. And as I said, here in Florida, the basil have a really hard time. People come to me all the time saying, how in the world do you grow basil here? It is tough. You're going to want to use shade because the sun can be rough until they get bigger. And of course they need sunlight. So what I use is partial shade and partial sunlight. And that's how I do it. Where part of the day it's going to get sun, but part of the day it's shade. And then when they get bigger, they can go into full sun, and they like that because they don't like humidity. And sometimes in the shade, there's too much humidity, and they don't like that. And so this one here. So as I said earlier, the basil looks good. Thank you, Froggy. Rooting powder sure helps your success rate. Yeah, I'm not against if anybody uses hormones or rooting powder. If someone does that, that's fine. But if I've got a plant and I've got stems from it, like when I do the rubber trees, I want that rubber tree to figure itself out. I want it to, when I do a clipping, with the rubber tree, I haven't lost one yet. With the Croton, I maybe have lost 1 out of 10. And those numbers are good for me, but what I want the plant to do, I want the plant to figure out what it needs to do. And if you're basically forcing it to form its own roots instead of the rooting hormones, because when I sell plants to somebody and they ask me, they're like, do you use hormones? Now that can mean a lot of different things with plants, but technically if you use rooting hormones, you can't say you don't use hormones. And if I'm 100% organic, I can't use, well, I don't know if hormones would count as not being organic. I don't know. But I don't want to use hormones. And then what do I got to tell people? They're like, hey, do you use hormones? So I try not to use any chemicals. And so whether it be food, compost, anything I do has got to be organic, because if you sell someone a pepper plant or a tree, let's say a wax myrtle, if they go, hey, do you use hormones? And I gotta be like, I gotta be able to say no. And so here's the little ones in their little pot. These they've already rooted pretty well in these little pots. It was either 1 or 2 weeks ago. Luckily this time of year in the growing season in Florida, they root pretty quickly. So they've pretty much filled these little pots. When I got them, they're in a pot and there's like 10 or 20, and where's that other pot? Here it is. I'm gonna need more dirt. And so let's see, I need So basically, if a plant comes to me and it's got 10 or 20 in there, even 4, I want each individual plant out, because I did that with strawberry plants a couple of years ago and had good success, because I don't want a whole bunch of plants in there. So these basil came from two plants or in 2 pots. So they sell them where there's a whole bunch, so it looks bushier. And you want the basil to have its own pot. And there's another little basil, and so we got to decide which one is going to. I also take this time, if there's any leaves that are bad, I remove leaves that are bad. If you got any problem with bugs, I remove things manually, like actually just take the leaves off. I don't do like bug killer. I don't do any chemicals, because I think the customer's got to be able to rely on organic. So I think there is organic pesticide. I don't know, and I want to get those Venus flytraps. But yeah, so if I'm removing leaves here, that is part of what we're doing today. And so this plant is growing off to the side. You'll see that sometimes. You can top. I don't know if anybody here knows what topping is. You can top. You can top basil plants to help them. I find I don't need to with basil, but you can top trees, you can top tomato plants, pepper plants, basil. You could top these. What that would be is, if I went here and cut this off, I've still got some plants down here. If I cut here, I can root this basil and use it as another plant. The top part, for example, and then the bottom part will it'll cause the plant to branch out. Now I find I don't need to do that with basil, but I can. In fact, if the plant starts to have problems, but there's good stuff, I will take the good part, the good branches, and I will use them as to make new plants. I will plant them. And so yeah, so that's why, if anybody's wondering, that's why I don't use hormones. Do not use hormones. And so that would be why. And so we're going to need more dirt. So we've got 3 here. We're going to need our cart. I have a cart. I have a really good garden cart. And this is the other one. I'm putting it on the cart. I'll show you guys the cart in a minute. We need dirt. Yeah, I actually grow aloe. Yeah, I don't mind aloe, but what I'm saying is, if you plant something, I'm trying to think of, other than the rubber trees is the greatest example of that. Plant does not need croutons too. I do cuttings. I don't for the most part. I don't use yeah, the rubber trees are the greatest example of how healthy they've done. Basically, like I said, here's rosemary. Y'all like rosemary? That's great rosemary plant. There's that bamboo I was telling you about that come up. But yeah, there's the begonia. But yeah, they don't need we found dirt. Come here, buddy. I gotta clear all this out. There's actually a tiki plant right there I'm gonna dig up and plant. But without more dirt, it becomes difficult. Always need about $500 worth. Is that a rose bush? Yes, that is a rose bush. Okay, we are not using this dirt. That is a rose bush. Hell yeah. We found a rose bush. Is that a rose bush? Some of these are weeds. Yeah, that is all weeds. So that's perfect. Ah. Alright, so before we continue with the basil. Oh, what can you smell from here? The basil? Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys dehydrate basil. I dehydrate basil. I don't have any right now, but as you can see, I'm going to do soon. I'm going to get oregano soon. Sometimes they're perennial. They make it the whole year. I've had years that are really good, but this year these are snake plants. Up front, I'll probably take you guys up front because up front we have a better example of plants. When things are doing real good, I move them up front. Y'all deserve to see some good plants doing good. This lock is a pain. Hold on. I'm setting you guys on the corner. Okay, I lost that key. That sucks. Dick. Okay, we lost the key. Okay. And we found it. It's in my pocket. Yeah, this is complicated. This sucks dick. Okay, there we go. Cause y'all deserve to come up front and see these plants. Before we finish that basil, and then I gotta go to the store and get groceries. So, let's see here. Oh, you grow hemp? Yeah, I want to grow hemp, but the brokers here, they have what's called hemp brokers, and the brokers here want you to have like 4 or 7 acres of hemp. So that's why I don't grow it, because I want to grow it and sell it. But that's why I don't grow it, because they want you to have more. So if you just have a small amount, these are Croton and Tiki plants, and these are iris. These are yellow flower iris. These are portocorpus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Portocorpus, and there's some new life on there. And yeah, I don't grow hemp, but yeah, if you do, that's good. That's good. I would like to grow hemp and marijuana both, but I don't, because the laws here, you have to grow a certain amount of it, and you have to grow it for medical purposes, and you have to follow rules and all that. But yeah, I would just grow, if I was growing hemp. That's what I told the brokers, is I would just grow like 300 plants. Well, they don't want just 300 plants, so they're not interested. So that's why I don't grow it, because there's no reason to grow hemp if you don't have a broker. You need it. Well, you can just sell it to individuals, but you gotta have a license. They did. I don't know if they still do. Back in 2021, they made it where you do not need a license to grow hemp in Florida. I don't know if it's still that way. I don't know if you need a license now, but I don't want to get involved in hemp or marijuana if it's just a few plants. I want to be able to grow like 300 or 400 a year to sell, but the brokers want you to have like 4 to 7 acres of hemp, and that's what they want to buy from you. So if you don't have like a true hemp farm, like a big one, then they're not interested. This loquat tree is doing great. This is what's called a loquat tree. And I knew some guys in, I met some guys that, they were from California and they moved here. And they had done that with marijuana illegally, where it wasn't legal, but they were just growing it like I want to do. growing like 300 or 400 plants at a time, and they made I don't know if it was millions of dollars, but they made a lot of money. They were doing that for I think about 4 years, but that's there again, that's doing it illegally. So they didn't have like acres and acres. They just did that themselves. So now we're pulling these weeds out here. So we found some rose bushes that we'll be working on. They need some help and some work. So every day there's more work. That's the thing about gardening. If you get into gardening, there's always something to do with the ginger plants and the snake plants and the bamboo and always things to do with the tomato plants. This year the tomato plants did not do well. We had a crazy winter. It was too cold, and then I was working, so I wasn't doing everything I needed to do. This is the basil here. Yeah, I dehydrate it. What I don't have an actual dehydrator. What you do is you put it in the oven for about 5 or 10 minutes on 350. So you go ahead and preheat your oven, and you actually use the oven like a dehydrator. Let's move this so you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, if anybody else is coming in, we are working on basil today. And I cleaned this floor the other day, and I'm throwing weeds and dirt and leaves on this ground that I cleaned the other day. Cause fuck it, that's why. And now this soil is damn good soil. I don't know what was in this pot, but we got some roots here, so whatever it was might come out. But yeah, there's our basil plant. I'm gonna put it in the pot. We're gonna take one of these cactus with us. This was the cactus I was working on earlier. Here's another basil. This one was in a little bit bigger of a pot, so it may not need to go to a different pot. We may keep it in this pot to get a comparison. Taking off some bad leaves here. To get a comparison, this pot is this size, and this pot is this size. And I think this one is big enough. We're going to keep it in there. I think so. So yeah, when I get basil or any plant, if I can make more plants out of it, see, that was 2 plants. I think each one was like $4, but it's got like 10 or 20 plants in it. So if you get like, let's say 20 or 40 plants and you charge $2 each plant, you could charge less money than they did, $2 for each one, but each plant has an opportunity to become a better plant. Like a big like bush of basil, rather than having them. Now when they're crammed together like that, they do look better, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make it look better. Now eventually they'll grow into a better, bigger plant, but I don't want to be charging people money for something that's going to have a problem. But $2 a pop. if each plant was $4, that's 8. There was 2 of them, and they got 10 or 20 plants in there, and you're making let's say you have 12. Okay, the 12 times 2 is 24. So you're changing $8 into $24, and I cannot miss that opportunity. So that's what I do. I think that's tripling. I don't think that's quadrupling. I think that's tripling your money. But yeah. And then these basil can also make more cuttings if they don't sell. So that's what's amazing. see, yes, they've already rooted. If you can see that. And that was only a week or two ago. I don't even think it was 2 whole weeks. That's how quickly the roots in these new, I don't know if you go back to that video or that live, they were not very big roots, and but they cram them together when they sell them to you, and you gotta do what's called root separation. And so we did that, and then I'm also going to be doing that with the works a little bit different with the bird of paradise, but I'm going to be doing root separation on them because I got pots that got like, they propagate by coming up out of the ground, and so there's like 3 or 4 in some of those, and I need to separate. There's actually what's called a root ball. It's very similar to banana trees. On that note. So these leaves right here, we're taking off the bad leaves and forming a, this is a basil plant. Taking these. This is the one I just put in this pot. These are basil plants. I was taking them from, I was explaining to people earlier, but for anybody else who's here now, I'm moving the basil plants to a bigger pot, and I'm taking off any leaves that are questionable. There's one here and here, so we're doing some trimming, and eventually as these get bigger, we'll be getting cuttings off of them because they're doing very well. They're very healthy, so that's good. So now we need, that's a good sized pot for this. Now, we don't need these little pots until we'll be putting up when the new papaya sprout. That'll be the next thing. That'll be the last thing this year that we need in the little pots. So little pots are going to start to disappear. Hello, welcome. This is that might be a, what do they call that? A bulb. This might be a bulb. It looks like a bulb. It's not rooting. Probably throw that out. But yeah, that was a bulb. Probably the caladium that hasn't come up this year. That's probably from that. I don't think that bulb that might have been the colder winter we got. Because that's a tropical plant. Okay. I'm going to take you guys to see this cart. And we'll be watering here in a minute. We're almost done with the basil. I want you guys to be able to see this cart. And these are the cactus from earlier. Gonna put them on the cart too. And then probably finish that floor cleaning either today or tomorrow. Hello everybody, these are basil. Doing some basil. Feel free to say anything you want in the chat, and I will watch the chat, and I will chat with you if you have any questions about plants. These are basil. I don't know if anybody's here from before. These are basil. So we're going to take this one, plant it. Oh yeah, we've already got quite a bit of roots here. Basil's doing good this year, that's good. Basil has a hard time here in Florida. So we are planting these basil. Then we're going to go to the store and get some groceries. So I usually don't put two in the same pot, but I got two that are questionable. So if they're questionable, they're going to go in the same pot. I usually don't want two in the same pot, but they will. And in about 2 weeks, they're going to go nuts because they've got a bigger pot. Their roots have got room to grow. So that's what we're aiming for. Everybody's welcome. Anybody in the chat? It doesn't look like there's nobody right now. This one did not root as well. You could tell. Yep. It did not root as well. It's not doing as well. This plant has issues. So we are going to plant this guy here. And we're going to plant with another one that's also got issues. It's not as healthy as some of the other ones. So sometimes you deal with that where you got an unhealthy plant. And we are going to put it with another one that's also not as healthy. Its roots are probably not any better. Yeah. I had a feeling. Now this one could probably go in one of the, it could probably go in this guy. This plant is doing okay, but it's not doing great. It's not as big as some of them, but it's still good. These are basil for anybody watching.